Rise up for recognition, please. Thank you. Please, let's welcome our visitors. Thank you. You may be seated. Is there any member with a petition? Honorable Dow.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Magaji Dao Aliu, member representing Brunun Kudubo, Jipere constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. I have a petition from retired AIG Bashir Al-Basu, Makamangaya, against the International Institute of Journalism, Abuja. I ask for the Honorable Speaker's leave to lay the petition. Thank you.
Sorry, you may lay your petition. Is there any other petition? Petition referred to the Committee on Public Petition. At this place, I should now be bringing Honorable Lelumelu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ndudu Godwin Delmelu, and I represent the good people of Anyocho Shimili Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I come under Order 8, Rule 4 and 7, matter of urgent national importance. Mr. Speaker, the matter is in respect of $1 billion that was diverted in LNG. And if we are not in a hurry to address the situation, it may be difficult for us to track that money. So I plead that our colleagues, that we quickly take this matter and get the committee working to track the money and be able to return the money back from where it has been taken. I so submit.
Honorable Fine.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Ifeanyi Chudi Moma. I represent the people of Ihiala Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion on urgent public importance as moved by the minority leader. I so second.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Lelu, please move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, I remain Honorable Ndudu Godwin Delmelu, and I represent the good people of Anyocho Shimili Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. The House notes that Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas, NLNG, was incorporated as a limited liability company in 1989 with the aim of producing liquefied natural gas and natural gas liquid for export purposes, and its production kick-started in 1999. Further note that LNG is jointly owned by government of Nigeria ably represented by NNPC with shareholding of 49%, Shell Gas BV 25.6%, Total LNG Limited 15%, and ENI International 10.4%. However, dividends from the LNG are supposed to be paid into the Consolidated Revenue Funds account of the federal government and to be shared among the three tiers of government. Worried that NNPC, who represent the government of Nigeria on the board of LNG, had unilaterally, without the required consultation with the states and mandatory appropriation from the National Assembly, illegally tampered with the funds of LNG dividend account to the tune of $1.05 billion, thereby violating nation's appropriation law. Disturbed that there was no transparency in this extra spending, as only the group managing director and other corporations chief financial officer had the knowledge of how the term $1.05 billion was spent. Concerned that there are no records showing the audit and recovery of accrued funds from LNG by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation. Hence, the need for a thorough investigation of the activities on the LNG so as to recover the $1 billion. The House therefore resolved to mandate the House Committee on Public Accounts to investigate the above allegations and report back to the House within 4 weeks. I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Abejide.
Okay. Second, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Leke Abejide, member representing the good people of Yagbafara constituency. I'm from Kogi State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by the minority leader. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
It's a straightforward investigative motion. I think in the interest of time, we'll just put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Somebody had approached me on the motion on NICITF. Who's taking that motion? I'm trying to remember. Who's taking that motion? Somebody approached me. Yes, Abejide. Move your motion. Or what's your motion about, rather?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Leke Abejide, member representing the good people of Yagbafara constituency. I'm from Kogi State. I rise under Order 8, Rule 4, to move the motion of urgent public importance, and I create your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, to allow me add the second leg of the motion to allow us to suspend our rules so I can move the motion on urgent motion on the incessant and arbitrary breach of presidential directives on the suspension of top management and executive committee members of Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF, and other government agencies by the ministers. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Shehu Koko is my name. I represent the good people of Koko, Besi, and Myanmar Federal Conference. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm from Kebbi State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion heavily moved by Honorable Jagaban. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Abejide.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I remain Leke Abejide, member representing the good people of Yagbafara constituency. I would like to move this motion on the urgent need to curb the incessant and arbitrary breach of presidential directives on the suspension of top management and executive committee members of Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF, and other government agencies by the ministers. The House notes that the Honorable Minister of Labor and Employment, by a letter dated 1st July 2020, signed by him, purportedly conveyed the directive of Mr. President to suspend from office the entire management of the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF, for facial infractions on the Financial Regulations and Procurement Act. Aware that the said members of the Management Committee of the NSITF were variously and collectively appointed into the position at the pleasure of Mr. President, who has approved a laid-down procedure for removal of executives of government parastatals. Aware that a presidential directive circular reference number SGF/OP/IS3/T163 of 19 May 2020, issued by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, states that the procedure contained in the circular is a mandatory guideline, and all ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and any other public officers in similar supervisory position are enjoined to strictly abide by its contents. The circular further stated, among others, that for emphasis on no account, a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria unilaterally or arbitrarily remove a serving chief executive officer without recourse to the procedure contained in the circular. Some other relevant portions of the said circular include: A, requiring the supervising minister through the permanent secretary to refer the matter to the governing board for necessary action. B, in the absence of the board, the ministers shall, with support of the permanent secretary, function in that capacity in accordance with the provision of the Public Service Administrative Guidelines. C, and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation shall implement and or confer the approval and directives of Mr. President on every disciplinary case against the Chief Executive Officer in the public service. Further aware that a governing board was constituted for the fund by Mr. President to oversee the affairs of the fund and to take appropriate disciplinary action, among others, where necessary. Amazed that through the minister, though that the minister wrote the chairman of the board, at no point did the board meet to decide, resolved, nor took a decision to dissolve the executive and management committee. Surprised that a ministry saddled with the responsibility of mediating in labor matters and resolving labor issues on behalf of government and peoples of Nigeria can flagrantly disobey the laid-down procedures of government. It is unilateral dissolution of the Executive and Management Committee of Employee Compensatory Fund, thereby jeopardizing the purpose and essence of establishment of fund, particularly in this COVID era. Confirm that no minister is procedurally empowered to remove the executives of any agency under any guise, including suspension by the Honorable Minister, Senator Dr. Chris Nwabweze Ngige. In this case, constituting himself into a sole authority known as fascism, authoritarianism, totalitarianism, and now become a minister in a banana republic. This is not according to the procedures laid out by Mr. President. Thereby, stating the procedure as approved by the President, he has gone the other way. Worried that that the incessant flagrant disobedience of presidential directive, as witnessed recently with the actions of the Honorable Minister of Labor and Productivity, and his counterpart in power, leaves room for potential breaches of laid-down rules and against laid-down procedures, thereby making the government look unserious before the general public. Honorable colleagues, observe and in confirmation of the unilateral decision of the Honorable Minister that the Nigeria Employer Consultative Association, NECA, and institutional stakeholders in the NSITF, representing 90% of the contributors to the fund, and a member of the board of the fund by letter of 3rd July to the Minister and the advertorial in the dailies of 6 July 2020, lend its voice to the arbitrariness of the action of the Minister, confirming the fact that though the board was A, duly constituted and inaugurated by the Honorable Minister in line with the act governing the board, B, the board was not informed, nor was it aware of the allegation of infractions leveled against the management. C, the suspension is in total disregard of the well-publicized disciplinary procedure approved by the President and released by the SGF. Further observed that in the event where the management is to be disciplined or suspended, this will have been done by a resolution of the board of the fund and channeled through the office of the SGF. Result, 1, that an ad hoc committee be constituted to investigate A, the procedural breaches of the presidential directive by both the Minister of Labor and Employment and his counterpart in power. B, the alleged breach in procurement procedures by the agencies. C, financial malpractices and malfeasance by these agencies. D, report back to this House within 1 week. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable colleagues.
Is that Honorable Kuye? Yeah, second.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name remains Honorable Ademoni Aliukuye. I represent the good people of Shomolu Federal Constituency. I come from Lagos State, sir. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague, Honorable Abejide. And in seconding the motion, sir, may I submit humbly to Mr. Speaker and our honorable colleagues that this motion of urgent public importance couldn't have come at a better time.
Are you debating the motion?
I rise to second the motions as ably moved, sir. I've mentioned that. I remain Ademoni Aliukuye, sir. Shomolu Federal Constituency, Lagos State, sir.
Honorable Abejide, do you want to lead the debate? But let me ask you very quickly before you. I thought I read somewhere, maybe you might want to address that during your debate. I thought I read somewhere that is a notice that the SGF had already, or that the minister had already gotten approval of the president. I read that somewhere. We can't pretend not to have read that. So you may want to address that.
Yes.
Okay, you say you have to.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Leke Abejide, member from Kogi State. Honorable colleagues, you are aware the level at which, or the rate at which, the chief executives are being removed these days without recourse to lay down procedures. And if you look at the federal system in Nigeria, federal government system, people prefer to work with a federal parastatal or a federal ministry because of the job security. Because for you to be removed from a position, it takes some procedure. They will give you time to defend yourself. If you have committed any offense, whatsoever, time will be given to you. You'll be invited by disciplinary committees, and that procedure will be followed. But in this case, when a minister doesn't like your face, or a chief executive doesn't like your face, he will just use his own power as if we are practicing a fascist system of government in Nigeria. A system that is moribund how many thousands of years ago. This is not good for us, and it's not even good for him as a minister of labor, who's supposed to be the custodian of the workforce. Is now the one that's now showing a bad example to others. And if this thing is not caught, Mr. Speaker, it will go to a level that will not be able to control it again. Everybody, once you are appointed into any position, you just use the position because the power is being given to you. You use it the way you like, and then you cause problem for the country. All these people that are being removed from office, they have families, they have dependents, people are living on them, and now you throw them into the labor market, just like that. This is the reason for this motion, Mr. Speaker, and I want to crave your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, and honorable colleagues, to please support this motion, for this one to serve as a deterrent to whoever that want to do this in the nearest future. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Please.
Sorry, I was a bit distracted, so I don't know if you addressed that issue. But Honorable Faleke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is James Abiodun Faleke. I represent Ikeja Federal Constituency. I am from Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for yielding the floor to me at this time, and also thank the mover of this motion for coming up with this very, very critical motion at this material time. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we have read in the media, social media, electronic media, we've heard from electronic media on this, on this drastic situation unilaterally taken by the Minister of Labor and Employment. Mr. Speaker, my worry is the Minister of Labor and Employment, who is supposed to mediate between employees and employers, is single-handedly taking decisions without recourse to procedures. The government, Mr. President, was elected because of his pedigree. He was elected because of his promises. He was elected because they believed he would deliver. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, Mr. President on his own cannot directly deliver the goodies. He had to appoint some ministers or some aides. We have seen in recent times, Mr. Speaker, how these ministers have abused their offices. And in this particular case, Mr. Speaker, the question that will come to our mind is, why will Minister of Labor and Employment carry out this draconian decision without following the process? One, Mr. Speaker, there's a need for this House to look at appointment of board chairmen. It says the President shall appoint, but in practice, Mr. Speaker, the ministers nominate the board chairman. And if they not have the control of that board chairman, that's exactly the issue that you raised, which I think Mr. Honorable Bejide did not respond to. that you read in the media, which we also read, that the president or through the SGF had approved. The issue was this. The agency has a board. If there's a disciplinary action required, the resolution of the board must go to the minister, from the minister to the SGF before a decision is taken. Even when the resolution of the board comes, the minister has no power to issue such letter. It is only the SGF that has the power, having taken decisions, instructions from Mr. President. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister of Labor has abused his office. And if I were the president, I would get him removed immediately based on facts. The NSITF that we are talking about, they submitted the budget of NSITF to him. He single-handedly altered all the budgets, altered the figures. And when the men and women at that agency protested, he threatened to remove them. What did he do? The minister inserted a 2 billion commission project, 2 billion naira worth. He inserted 2 billion for collection, commission on collection, something that has never happened in that agency. In other words, Speaker, he needed the management and staff of that agency the management and the executive committee of that agency to be out of office so that he can implement that budget. What did he do, Mr. Speaker? He removed all the people who are against that decision and left it to the people who never knew about the argument between them. That is one. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we have ministers, especially this particular minister. He single-handedly nominated the contractor that bought all the vehicles. Worth 305 million last year in 2019 budget. And these men, the executive members, said this 2020 they will not allow that to happen again. So the moment the budget was approved, 2020 budget, he felt that he would not have control of those things he had inserted in the budget if these people remain there. And the only way to do it is to send them away. That's the cross of the matter. That's the cross of the matter. Mr. Speaker, we are entitled to Camry cars here as our official car. A minister of the Federal Republic will be provided with his convoy of vehicle by the ministry. But Ngige, that is not enough for Ngige. He went ahead and compelled this same parastatal of NSITF to buy him an SUV, a Toyota Land Cruiser, and a Hilux in 2019. Mr. Speaker, this same minister has inserted 4 SUVs in 2020 budget, which the men and women that he decided to send away refused to say we will not implement this budget. These are the issues. Mr. Speaker, and it may also interest you, honorable colleagues, to note that his wife, Dr. Mrs. Ngige, worked in, what do you call it? Civil service.
Go ahead.
Thank you. He took advantage of the fact that his wife works with the head of service and got approval signed by his wife to the Ministry of Labor to appoint an insurance broker for insurance worth 100 million every year. This approval was issued, signed by his wife on the 6th of May, Mr. Speaker, to him. And he wrote approval immediately to NSITF to accept that broker on the 10th of May. What a speed of light. These are the issues. These are the issues that they want to conceal by sacking these people. Thank you.
What was your point of order? Honorable Faleki, Those are very, very, very weighty allegations you have made. And I hope you are able to prove them. Otherwise, the consequences may be very, very dire. Very weighty allegations. If true, it's problematic. If not true, it's problematic. Honorable Sada Soli. Honorable Faleke, please approach the chair.
Thank
Honorable
you, Mr.
Sada
Speaker.
Soli.
Mr. Speaker, my name is Sada Soli,
Honorable Faleke.
representing Jibia Kaita Federal Constituency. I'm from Katsina State, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, at one time, this House gave me a responsibility to investigate the activities in NSITF. So I'm going to speak from the background of knowledge. Mr. Speaker, I don't know why our ministers of labor are prone to self-inflicting injuries. Yesterday was Kiamo, today is Ingige, just in the course of discharging their responsibilities. I think there's a problem there. Mr. Speaker, there is a saying that if you want to know everything, follow where the money is. So I think this House should follow where the money is in respect of this NSITF issue. Mr. Speaker, this House is aware of the problem of Kokori. Kokori was nominated by Mr. President to chair NSITF, but this very minister, because he didn't like him, he doesn't want him, he has a preferred candidate, stood against the presidential nomination until when Kokori was removed or was not allowed to take oath as the chairman of NSITF, and he brought his crony. I investigated NSITF. I can tell with all certainty the chairman of NSITF now is the crony of the minister. Mr. Speaker, if you refer to Section 6, Section 7, Section 7.4, and Section 8 of the NSITF legislation, in this, what the minister did is unlawful, is a disgrace to a member of the Federal Executive Council to take that action, unilateral action, even though there is a claim that he went around and obtained the presidential approval, but even that approval was not done in accordance with the provision of Section 7, Section 8, and Section 6 of the NSITF legislation. Mr. Speaker, let me call on the management of NSITF to disregard this unlawful directive, remain in their office until when the proper thing is done. Mr. Speaker, there is a ruling of the Supreme Court against this kind of directives.
Whip. Can you please whip your members?
Order, please. Order, please. Honorable Kalu, please resume your seat.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable
I think
Ajibede, resume your seat.
this act of the minister is suspicious, and it is an attempt to some extent for a cover-up. So I think this House should give this motion all the backings so that this matter is investigated and the culprits are punished and the innocent are given reprieve so that they can go back to their offices and continue to serve this country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, we're going to put the question. Don't forget we had a resolution on Thursday. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. Gentlemen, we had a resolution on Thursday that we're only going based on the circumstances. We cannot have prolonged debates. So please bear in mind our resolution of Thursday, please, please. Because of we allowed a couple of people to, if you have noticed, normally we just put the question in all motions because of time. But we wanted people to contribute, and we had 3 contributions. Honorable Eden.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, my name is Idem Unyime, member representing Ukanafun Orogonam Federal Constituency in Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to present motion of urgent public importance, and it's a call on the federal government to immediately set up sex offenders and gender violation special courts to enhance speedy trial for the perpetrators of the offense. On this note, I would like to appeal that this motion be considered urgent enough to be taken. I so move.
Honorable Taiwo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Taiwo Oluga. I represent all the people of Irewoli Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Osun State. I rise this morning to second the motion ably moved by my colleague, and also that we should suspend our rules to take the motion as a public urgent matter. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Those in support, please say aye. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. My name once again remains Idem Unyime, member representing Ukanafun, Orogonam Federal Constituency in Akwa Ibom State. A call on the federal government to immediately set up sex offenders and gender violation special courts to enhance speedy trial for the perpetrators of the offense. The House aware that few months ago, the country was ravaged by the deadly coronavirus, and in the midst of waging the war, we are presently being confronted with...
I think the people... Honorable Faleke, please approach the chair.
The House aware that few months ago, the country was ravaged by the deadly coronavirus, and in the midst of waging the war, we are presently being confronted with another pandemic, the pandemic of rape and gender violation, and the whole country is suddenly started witnessing an unprecedented increase in number of rapes and violation cases in the country. Confirmed that the Nigerian police force has reported a surging record between January 2020 and May 2020 of over 717 rape cases formally reported. That is an average of 143 cases per month. and around 5 cases per day. And these are only reported cases. Your guess of the unreported ones is as good as mine. Definitely, there are also thousands of unreported cases. Rape is a gross violation of human rights. Right to dignity, right to life, and right to sexuality. Note the public outrage on account of rape and other violent crimes against women and girls leading to the death of some of the victims have reached a horrifying and scary proportion in recent times.
Honorable Koro,
Pervasive
please
crime
resume your seat.
in the society is alarming.
Order,
Worrisome
please.
that the spate of reported societal menace of rape cases in the country, if not addressed, the society is heading for a doom, and the disturbing cases should be condemned by all and sundry. A look in the direction of stiffer legislation that will help to reduce rape should be considered. The victims of rape should not be stigmatized by the society, but rather encouraged to speak up and out when they fall victims of the act. Cognizance that the federal government should, without delay, launch a national campaign against rape and gender-based violence. The campaign which should include advocacy, public sensitization, and social mobilization. Also, the campaign is necessary not only to raise the level of awareness about rape and gender-based violence, but to ensure that Nigerians own the fight against the abhorrent and repulsive criminal acts. Condemn in strong terms the acts of rape and all other gender-based violence, describing them as barbaric, inhuman, despotic, sustaining the fight against the menace, as well as ensure offenders who indulge in such heinous crimes should be safe, stricter sanctioned legally and be dealt with accordingly. Cognizant that there is need for accelerated hearing and prosecution for rape, sexual and gender-based violence cases in court. The acceleration of such cases means faster conclusion and conviction of those alleged to have committed these offenses, and the country will be safer because of the implementation and enforcement. Whilst the culprits are kept in correctional facilities after conviction, those harboring the intention to commit the atrocities will be discouraged. Also, if these cases are concluded within months or even weeks with strong conviction to back up the conviction, it will have a massive effect on those who are nursing the intention to commit similar crimes. They will fear and understand that the risks involved far outweighs the crime. If the system works fast and well, our society will not be the same again. Also, special courts could be set up to fully harness the law and ensure accelerated hearings so that Nigerians will know that the laws will be applied quickly and fully. The delay in the trial has serious psychological impact on the victims and mostly the minors. Also, a uniform legal framework to ensure stringent punishment against rape menace in the society decry the effects of rape on the victims, especially women and the girl child in the society, to justify the basis for a review of existing laws in line with the current realities. Note that the unalloyed support for death and capital punishment for the rapists, whose victims mostly included babies, younger women, and older women, often used for ritual purposes, led to long-lasting psychological and physical trauma. The House resolved to condemn...
Honorable Chidoka, you went without permission. Step down quickly.
The House resolved to condemn in strong terms the acts of rape and all other gender-based violence over the past months within the country. Urge the federal government to immediately set up special court for the offense of rape, sexual and gender-based violence. Urge the federal government through its relevant regulatory agencies to set up accelerated court hearing mechanism and prosecution for rape, sexual and gender-based violence cases in court. And then, lastly, mandate the House Committee on Women Affairs and Social Development, Federal Judiciary and Human Rights to liaise with relevant government regulatory agencies and ensure compliance with the appropriate resolution of the House and report to the House within 2 weeks. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I so move.
Okay, I'm just going to put the question again in the interest of time. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Is Honorable Nsikak here? The last motion for the Honorable Nsikak. Please go ahead. He's not here? Who's that? Who's there? Your hand is up. Honorable Nsikak, I was calling you. You didn't. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for yielding the floor to me. Distinguished colleagues, my name is Nsikak Kong. I'm from Akwa Ibom State. I speak for the people of Ikoregbene, Oboroka, the Federal Constituency. I seek the leave of this House to come under Order 8, Rule 4, to present a matter of urgent public importance, which has to do with a bridge that links Ikoregbene and Oborokara local governments that collapsed a few months ago. And then some lives were also lost. So my motion is to urge the NDDC to intervene. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. Honorable Achibong.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Dr. Henry Okonachibong, representing the people of Itu, Ibiono Federal Constituency in Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion as moved by my colleague, Honorable Nsikak. I so support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Nsikak, move your motion, please.
I remain Honorable Nsikak Kong. I'm from Akwa Ibom State, and I speak for the people of Ikoregbene Oborokara, the Federal Constituency. This motion is a call for the Niger Delta Development Commission to intervene on the construction of the broken bridge linking Ikoregbene and Oborokara local government area of Akwa Ibom State. The House notes that the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, was established by Act number 6 of 2000 by this noble institution as an interventionist agency with a clear mandate to, among other things, undertake economic, environmental, and infrastructural development towards improvement of the quality of life, economic transformation, and prosperity of the Niger Delta region. Also note that Section 7(1)(b) of the NDDC Establishment Act 2000 mandates the Commission to receive, plan, and implement projects and programs in accordance with set rules and regulations. Also note that the major road linking Ikoregbene, Mbiaso, Ikorukpong, Oborokara is a single carriageway and had a metal fabricated barley bridge that was constructed long before the Nigerian Civil War. Also aware that this route and the bridge connects over 100 communities and is invaluable for the transfer of goods and services between the neighboring villages and the local government areas. Worried that early this year, a truck fully loaded with Dangote cement in trying to cross the bridge from the Ikorogbene axis to Oborokara with a full load of cement caused the bridge to collapse. Also disturbed that the only alternative route, being the Ikorogbene-Oborokara Umuohia road, is in a very deplorable state, especially with the coming rainy season. Also aware that this road has a great economic importance for both local government areas, as it is the only route that farmers use in evacuating farm produce to the various markets. Worried that the collapse of the bridge
Order, please. Order, please.
has completely cut off several villages from participating in daily economic activities, thereby subjecting the people to undue hardship. Also worried that students will not be able to access their schools when school resumes if urgent measure is not taken to address this situation. Therefore resolved to, 1, mandate the Niger Delta Development Commission to immediately commence the construction of the road and Solar Bridge. 2, mandate the House Committee on NDDC and legislative compliance to ensure compliance. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Order, you finish quickly and vacate the place.
Point of order. Who's raising the point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I refer to inherent orders as the first two motions that are dilatory. Mr. Speaker, you approved the mandatory order against NDDC now. Now the same prayers are asking us to ask them to immediately commence what we ask them not to do. That will look very...
Sorry, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Speak up.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Uzoma Kim Abonta is my name. Mr. Speaker, our rules condemns dilatory motions. I want to bring to your attention that you, Superintendent, and we passed a motion banning NDDC from some certain acts pending the outcome of certain investigations. The prayer is also now asking us to tell NDDC immediately to proceed to do those things we have asked them not to do. Mr. Speaker, I think it's contradictory. We can't be a house of commotion. Thank you very much.
Well, the issue is I'm going to find it difficult to rule on this motion because prior to now, and I'll have to say it openly, that I had members, prior to his motion, I had members here and I was distracted. So I'm not even sure what his prayers were. So I'm not going to be able to rule on your motion on that basis. So I think when members are quiet, we'll take the motion again and then I'll listen to your point of order. Well, we'll just take the prayers. We'll take the prayers, then I'll listen to his point of order again so that I'll be able to put it in context and proper perspective to determine how to rule on that. So 1 second. Honorable Wosika, read your prayers again, please. Please, let me concentrate on this thing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I speak for the people of Ikorebene, Oborokara, and the Seodim Federal Constituency. I'm from Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, early this year, the only bridge that links two local governments in my federal constituency, Ikorebene and Oborokara, which was constructed before the Nigerian Civil War, is a Bailey Bridge, collapsed. Thank God no life was lost. And in the process, the use of the two local governments in trying to find a way to be able to cross and continue with their commercial activities dismembered the Bailey Bridge in an attempt to construct find a way to cross, Mr. Speaker. I'm aware, I'm told that 2 people died, 2 people drowned. So this is a very serious issue, Mr. Speaker. If this matter is not addressed, it could generate into something else. So I'm pleading that the Niger Delta Development Commission, which is an interventionist agency, should come to our aid. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Honorable, what's your point of order? Refer me to your point of order, please, and the page.
Mr. Speaker, I come by combined actions of Order 9, Rule 6.
What page? No, just take me directly to the page instead of me skipping and looking for orders. Can you take me to the page in the book?
Mr. Speaker, I come under 9, Rule 6. The electric motions, the combined effect of matters already also taken, as well as that the House can't overrule itself except on motion on notice. And Mr. Speaker, I'm saying that this House resolved to forbid entities from certain actions pending the outcome of the committee's work. What he's asking us to do now is tantamount to overruling ourselves by asking entities to immediately do the things we had asked them not to do. He should come with motion and notice if he wants us to rescind the earlier decision. And our rule says that motions of this nature is directly because we had considered the NDC here as approved, also in the votes, that they should take action from awarding blah, 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 doing blah, blah, pending the outcome. Incidentally, unfortunately, where he's asking them to fix is the home background of the so-called person who are saying don't do this. So he doesn't use it as an opportunity to say, we asked him to go and do it immediately. And jump and begin to do those, and jump in there and begin to do those things. He's asking us to benefit, to ask us to go and do XYZ road, which will benefit the being neighbors. That is the hometown or region of the minister too, who controls NDDC and who have sat here to say, NDDC, stop doing this until we come out with this. It amounts to ask him to go and do extra budgetary things since it was not budgeted for. So I think that this motion should be stayed pending when we resolve the NDC issues. Otherwise, we are blowing hot and cold. We say, don't walk. We're not saying, go and do immediately. And the language is immediately. Mr. Speaker, you know they will obey that quickly. And then say you instructed them. I therefore say that he should step down this motion If it's desirous, come on notice so we can join issues appropriately. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Abonta, you raised an interesting observation, but I think there's an inherent problem in that observation. First of all, we will need to go back to the motion of the House and look at the prayer and the resolution, the exact language of the resolution, as to whether it was a general blanket stop work, NDDC, or whether it was more specific in terms of what we told them not to do. And we need to be better informed. I'm not saying you are wrong, but I would need to be better informed before we can put a stop to a motion that is personal to somebody in his constituency. And you may be right, in which case, if we pass this motion today and we find out that it contradicts our earlier motion, then we may bring a motion for rescission of the decision we took today. Secondly, it might pose a constitutional problem because he is entitled under the Constitution to representation. His constituency is entitled to representation. So you've thrown up a lot of issues. So it's better for us to err on the side of caution. And if we now find out that we're wrong after looking at the earlier motion that we passed, then we will bring a motion for rescission. So your point of order is noted, but overruled for now. So I think I'll just put the question. Huh? What did you say? Balancing, the point of order is balancing the facts? What's your point of order?
I'm not actually, Mr. Speaker, raising a point of order. Former speakers have ruled on such matters when it comes, that's precedent, when it comes to the issues of not knowing which one is the actual facts. Mr. Speaker, have it as a duty to refer such matter to either the Committee on Rules and Business to advise him on the following legislative day, so as to get the facts.
Honorable Osai. Honorable Osai.
Sir.
I'm glad you said former speakers. I'm not a former speaker, I'm a sitting speaker. And the approach of former speakers can be different from my approach, as long as I'm within the law and the rules. And indeed, the approach of former speakers on many issues have actually been different from my approach. So, the fact that former speakers always, when there is an issue, refer to a committee to look into it, I can toe that line, but if I'm better, and if I decide to, and it's within the law, I can decide to err on the side of caution. So, Honorable Osai, even though you didn't raise a point of order, you are overruled. So I'll just put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it.
It's a convention.
Honorable Osai, please be guided.
So let's quickly move on to the other paper. Honorable members, the first business of the day is presentation of 32 bills, and I invite the clerk to read the short titles.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Federal Cooperative Colleges Establishment Bill 2020, first reading. Family Support Trust Fund Act Repeal Bill 2020, first reading. Nigerian Institute of Animal Science Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Tertiary Education Trust Fund Establishment etc. Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. National Security Investment Bill 2020, first reading. Charter Institute of Information and Strategy Management Establishment Extra Bill 2020, first reading. Medical Negligence Litigation Bill 2020, first reading. Limitation Period of Freezing Bill 2020, first reading. National Water Resources Bill 2020, first reading. Obafemi Awolowo University Transition Provisions Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. University of Ibadan Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Boubacar Tafawa Balewa University Bauchi Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Usman Danfodio University Sokoto Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. University of Maiduguri Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. National Cocoa Board Establishment and Administration Bill 2020, first reading. Federal Institute for Coal Mining Research Establishment Bill 2020, first reading. Federal Polytechnic Kano State Establishment Bill 2020, first reading. National Agricultural Land Development Authority Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Act Alteration Bill 2020, first reading. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Act Alteration Bill 2020, first reading. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Act Alteration Bill 2020, first reading. National Barrier Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Nigerian National Heroes Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Price Control Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Independent Electoral Institute Establishment Bill 2020, first reading. Kidney Transplant Bill 2020, first reading. School Year Variation Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Federal Medical Center, Kafanchan Establishment Bill 2020, first reading. Evidence Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Act Alteration State Police Bill 2020, first reading. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Act Alteration Bill 2020, first reading.
The second business of the day is presentation of reports of the Committees on Finance on the 2020 budget of the Federal Inland Revenue Service pursuant to Order 18, Rule 41-2H of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, standing in the name of Honorable James Abiodun Faleke. Honorable Faleke is invited to present the report. Abalabe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Second order. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is James Abiodun Faleke. I represent Ikeja Federal Constituency. I'm from Lagos State. I rise that the House will receive the report of the Committee of Finance on the 2020 budget of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, pursuant to Order 18 Rule 41(2)H of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives. I so move, sir.
Second, Honorable Maki.
Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Maki Elleman. I represent Madam Modori Kaugama Federal Constituency. I'm from Jigawa State. I stand to second the report led by the Chairman Finance. I so second. Thank you.
Okay, those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against it, say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Faleke, please lay your report. Third business of the day is presentation of final report of the Committee on Foreign Affairs, Interparliamentary Relations, Human Rights, and Diaspora on the investigation into alleged maltreatment and institutional racial discrimination against Nigerians living in China by the government of China. Standing in the name of Honorable Yusuf Buba Yakub, honorable members will recall that the matter was referred to the committee on Tuesday, 28 April 2020. The report is ready for presentation. Honorable Yakub is invited to present the report.
Sorry for that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the House do receive the final report of the Committees on Foreign Affairs, Interparliamentary Relations, Human Rights, and Diaspora on the investigation into alleged maltreatment and institutional racial discrimination against Nigerians living in China by the government of China. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Lado.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Abubakar Lado Suleja is my name, and I'm representing Suleja Gurara Tapa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from the Power State, Niger. I stand to second the motion as heavily moved by my honorable colleague. I so second. Thank you.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against it, say nay. Ayes have it.
Honorable Lado, maintain social distance with Honorable Sumaila.
Honorable Lado, you are not far enough. Move to the extreme. To the extreme. Yes. In fact, maybe you should go to the extreme back.
Minority leader, you should maintain social distance. Minority leader.
Oh, okay, you'll be directly behind Fulata. Okay, move one seat back.
Leader,
leader, House leader, I think you are too close to the DS. Please move. Very good. You can see the whip and the deputy whip.
Minority leader.
Minority leader.
Social distance.
Who's that with you? Ah. Social distance. Don't sit with the NDDC chairman. NDDC chairman, please go to the back. Who else is sitting with who? Faleke, Benson, please can you take your seat? Move away from Faleke. Who else? Tobian. Okay. I think we're good now. The fourth business of the day is presentation of 5 reports of the Committee on Public Petitions. Elder Jerry Alagbalso is invited to present the report. Elder.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, my colleagues. My name is Jerry Alagbalso. I'm representing Olo, Osu and Nuru Federal Constituency. I'm from Imo State, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to present 5 reports arising from the petitions of the following. 1 is a report by the Committee on Public Petition on a petition written by Tulu Babalaya and Co. on behalf of Mr. Andrew Ayerime against the Police Service Commission on a passionate appeal. 2, report on a petition by Pastor Johanna Yuhari against Independent Nigeria Electoral Commission on appeal for conflict of future elections. 3, report of the House Committee on Public Petition on the petition written by Hariru Magaji on behalf of Maganda Development Association, Bonnet Village, Zaria. 4, report of the House Committee on Public Petition on the petition written by Farana and Farana Chambers on behalf of the dismissed staff of Police Service Commission for their failure to comply with the judgment of the National Industrial Court. 5 is the report House Committee on Public Petitions on a petition by Okoro Finan and others against the Nigeria Maritime University, Okoro Delta State, on the sacking of some of the university pioneer academic staff without any justification. Mr. Speaker, I so present.
Second, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Kabiru Idris, member representing Kura Madobiga Malam. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this very important motion raised by Honorable Jerry. I so support Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kabiru. All right, so we put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Alagbaso. First order of the day is consolidation of 2 bills. Honorable members may wish to note that the bills are on the same subject matter, and I invite the Chairman of the Committee on Rules and Business to move that the bills be consolidated.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent Berniwa, Krika Sama, Guni Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of 2 bills as follows. A bill for an act to amend the Legislative Houses Powers and Legislative Act 2017 to prescribe the offenses and punishment for contempt of legislative houses, to provide punishment on the offense on the police or any other law enforcement agent that refuses to arrest any person as directed by the legislative house, to provide exception to the kind of person to be compelled by the legislative house, such as president, the executive governors, the house, deputies, diplomats, and their agents, representatives of international organizations such as the United Nations, the African Union, the European Union, ECOWAS, and for related matters, HB 510250. And a bill for an act to amend the Legislative House Houses Powers and Privileges Act 2017 to preserve the legislative powers of the Legislative House and guarantee the principle of separation of powers, and for related matters, HB 887. I so move.
Okay, Honorable Fulata, sorry, I'm just taking a look at this consolidation, and I want members to pay attention. These two bills, I don't see how they are related. I think they're very distinct and separate. I don't know why we want to consolidate them.
Yeah, the two bills seek to amend different sections of the same bill, of same act, sorry. The first one has already gone for second reading. The second one is being committed, is being read the first time. Now we are avoiding a situation where, if not amended now, it would have to wait, the second one will have to wait for the next session, which will be next year. That's why we are seizing this opportunity to consolidate them so that the second bill does not miss out. That's the essence, Mr. Speaker.
My understanding of consolidation is if the two bills are of the same subject matter. And I'm looking at the two bills that we seek to consolidate. One, the first one talks about offense to prescribe offenses for a policeman.
Chairman rules, use your face marks.
For a policeman or any other law enforcement agent that refuses to arrest somebody who the House has legally issued a warrant of arrest for. That's number one. That's the First Amendment. The Second Amendment, and then it creates exceptions for diplomats and all of that. But then the Second Amendment, to amend the legislative house's power to reserve the legislative powers of a legislative house and guarantee the principles of separation of powers. What I understand, because I've seen that amendment, is we're seeking to stop any court from more or less arresting a legislative process until after the completion of the legislative process. So there are two separate, two subject matters. I think we can bring one, we could have brought one today, sort the amendment, Tuesday, bring another one, seek the amendment. They're not the same subject matter at all. I don't know. No, the content is not even similar.
Might be of the same subject issues.
It's not.
We don't always align with the headings alone.
It's not the heading. I've seen the content.
Yeah,
they're not the same.
If they are not the same, they can be consolidated. If they are not the same, they can be consolidated.
Yeah. Let's do the second reading of the one. Let's do the second reading, unless you're not, because it's even your bill, I believe.
Speaker, the first one has already been passed through the second reading. It's an amendment of the same.
Are you prepared to take the one that has passed through second reading? Are you prepared, or will we step it down? Yeah, I think we should take that one and then bring the other one on Tuesday. They're not the same. They're not the same bills at all. So if you are ready to take.
You cannot separate it.
Yeah, I think Osai is right. You come on, just come on Tuesday. Just bring it on Tuesday. Bring it on Tuesday. So we'll step that down for now.
Honorable Unana, use your face mark. Honorable Unana, your face mark.
Second order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal Medical Center, WASE, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Ahmed Idris. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 2nd of July, 2020. I now invite Honorable Idris to move that the bill be now read a second time.
My respected Speaker, Excellency, distinguished colleagues, my name is Ahmed Idris. I represent WASE, Federal Constituency, Plateau State. Your Excellency, I ask to move the bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal Medical Center was a related second I so move.
Yes, seconder, please. Is that Honorable Michela? Yes.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I remain Honorable Dr. Haruna Michelia. I represent all the good people of Askaro Bahawul Federal Constituency of Borno State. I stand to second the move, ably moved by His Excellency, the Deputy Speaker. I so second.
Those in support of, in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk, please read the long title.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for now to provide for the establishment of the Federal Medical Center, WASE, and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Health Institutions. Third order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to amend the Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Act, Cap 010, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to provide for establishment of orthopedic hospitals, Jos, Plateau State, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Ahmed Idris. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 2nd July 2020, and I invite Honorable Idris to move that the bill be now read the second time.
My respected speakers and distinguished colleagues, my name is Ahmed Idris. I represent Wase Federal Constitution of Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, I ask to move for a bill of an act to amend the Orthopedic Hospital Management Act, Board Act, Cap 010, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004, to provide for the establishment of orthopedic hospital in Jos, Plateau State, and for related matters related to content. I so move.
Honorable Kiru.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Kiru Kaunye George. I represent the people of Isuwatu Federal Constituency. I am from Abia State. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by Deputy Speaker Honorable Idris. I so second.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for now to amend the Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Act, Chapter 010, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to provide for the establishment of Orthopedic Hospital, Jos, Plateau State, and for related matters. Second reading.
Honorable colleagues, earlier on today we took a motion and passed a resolution to investigate agencies where the ministers on their own dissolve boards and fire their directors. The ad hoc committee set up is as follows. Princess Miriam Unohe will be the chairman, Mukhtar Ahmed, James Faleke, Honorable Ashiru, Honorable Adosani Kiri, Honorable Ifeanyi Imoma, Honorable Fakeye, Honorable Udil, Honorable Chinedu Onwoso, Honorable Ahmed Tijani, Honorable Maki, Honorable Usman Zana, and Honorable Dennis Amadi. Honorable colleagues, the that was referred to you. Health, the last bill is referred to the Committee on Health Institutions. The third order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to amend the... Okay, we're checking this. The fourth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Education, Technical, Yauri, Kebbi State, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instructions, and training in technology, applied social sciences, humanities, and management to carry out research in the development and adaptation of techniques and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Tanko Sununu Yusuf. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Friday, 20 December 2019. I now invite Honorable Yusuf to move that the bill be now read a second time. Honorable Yusuf.
Mr. Speaker, and Saraki Yauri, I'm Honorable Dr. Yusuf.
Honorable Yusuf, this bill seeks to establish what? It seeks to establish the Federal College of Education, right? Technical. Where? Where? Okay. Who's the Southern Yauri? Huh? Who's the Southern Yauri? Who? Oh, okay, that's true. That's true. Go ahead and move your bill.
Mr. Speaker and Saraki Yauri, I'm Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu, representing Ingaski Shanga Yauri Federal Constituency. I'm from Kebbi State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to present a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Education, Technical Yauri, Kebbi State, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instructions and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management, to carry out research in the development and adaptation of techniques, and for related matters, with House number HB 629. I present the bill for second reading, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Coco, why don't you want to second the bill? Are you not from Kebbi? Are you not aware of who I am in Yauri? So second the bill, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and Sadao King Yauri, my honorable colleagues. My name is Shehu Koko. I represent the good people of Koko, Bessie, and Mahima Federal Constituency from Kebbi State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion that the bill be read for the second time. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. It's a straightforward motion. I'll just put the question. The ayes have it. Sorry. Okay. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. All right. Clerk.
Madam Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Education, Technical, Yauri, Kebbi State, to provide full-time courses, teaching instructions, and training in technology, applied sciences, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management to carry out research, development and adaptation of techniques, and for related matters. Second reading.
Okay, apologies, honorable members. Two names were inadvertently omitted in the ad hoc committee that was just set up. Honorable Sada Soli Honorable Sada Soli's name was inadvertently omitted from the ad hoc committee that was just set up, and Honorable Leke Abejide, the mover of the motion as well. So please, clerk, take note. Honorable Leke Abejide, Honorable Sada Soli, and Honorable Bamidele Salam. That's three of them. Bamidele Salam. The fifth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to preserve the court's sanctity and authority of court as a sacred institution in order to effectively discharge its functions and exercise the judicial power conferred on it by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Onofiok Luke. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 12 February 2020, and I invite Honorable Luke to move that the bill be read a second time. Honorable Luke.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Onofiok Luke, by the grace of God, I represent the people of Etinan, Msrubium Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State. The Speaker, I rise standing on the provisions of Order 12, Rule 4, Sub 1, to move a motion that a bill for an act to preserve the court sanctity and authority of court as a sacred institution in order to effectively discharge its functions and exercise the judicial power conferred on it under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and related matters, House Bill number 675, be read the second time, sir. I move.
Seconder, please.
Honorable Onigbo, step down.
Honorable Bonta.
No. Honorable Onigbo, step down.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, in came upon to my name, I second that motion with the view that I'll be opportune to speak to the bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Luke, please allow me to put the question. Honorable Abota, what's that?
I said to enable me, just 2 minutes. I'm aware of the time frame.
To do what? You want to contribute to the debate? Okay, go ahead. In that case, but I will have to allow Honorable Luke to contribute to the debate, and then I'll put the question. Because it's 1:11, and we have to take, we have a motion to take, a report to consider, rather. So we just put the question. Based on our resolution, Honorable Luke, your bill is very straightforward. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. This is referred to the Committee on Federal Judiciary. Clerk, the last one is referred to the Committee on Tertiary Education. Go ahead, read.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to preserve the court's sanctity and authority of courts as a sacred institution in order to effectively discharge its functions and exercise the judicial power conferred on it under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and for related matters. Second reading.
Okay, the bill is referred to Committee on Federal Judiciary. Sixth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to amend the Sheriffs and Civil Process Act, Cap S8, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to delete Section 84 in order to expedite enforcement of judgment in garnishee proceedings and allow litigants get benefits of their judgment without delay. And for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Onofiok Luke, honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 12 February 2020, and I invite Honorable Luke to move that the bill be read a second time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Onofiok Luke, I represent 18 and Bumsurubion Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, I rise on the strength of our standing order, specifically Order 12, Rule 4, Paragraph 1, to move a motion for the second reading of a bill for an act to amend the Sheriffs and Civil Process Act, Cap S8, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to delete Section 84 in order to expedite enforcement of judgment in garnishee proceedings and allow litigants get benefit of their judgment without delay, and for related matters, numbering House Bill number 676 Act. I hereby move.
Honorable Kuye.
My name is Ademoni Alukuye. I represent the good
Honorable
people
your time is off.
of Shomolu Federal Constituency. I am from Lagos State. I rise to second the bill as moved by my learned colleague, Honorable Luke Onofiok. I so move, sir.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to amend the Sheriffs and Civil Process Act, Chapter SA, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to this Section 84 in order to expedite enforcement of judgment in garnishee proceedings and allow litigants get benefits of their judgment without delay and for later matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Federal Judiciary. Honorable colleagues, it's 1:16. Sitting started at 1:30 and we only have about 15 more minutes. And so based on our resolution, the House resolution, we're going to skip all other matters and head straight to consideration of reports. We'll take that and we'll call it a day. Chairman Business, can you please move that we step down all other matters and go straight to the consideration of reports?
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Samplata. I represent Brunua, Krika Sama, Free Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move to seek the leave of the House to suspend all items on the order paper, save consideration of reports. I so move.
Okay, matters step down. We'll go straight to consideration of reports. 14th order of the day is consideration of report of the Committee on Finance on the 2020 budget of the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Honorable Azibugo.
Honorable members, recall
Honorable Chris Azibugo.
that the report was laid on Tuesday, 7 July 2020. Honorable James Abiodun Faleke is to move for its consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is James Abiodun Faleke. I represent Ikeja Federal Constituency from Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to move that the House do consider the report of the Committee of Finance on the 2020 budget of the FRS and approve the recommendation therein. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so move. Thank you.
Any seconder? Engineer.
Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Bukar Gana Kareto, member representing Abadam Kukawa Buzamala, at Mobile Federal Consensus. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Borno State. I raise to second the motion moved by Honorable Faleke for the consideration of report.
Okay, those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The House have it. The ayes have it. Leader, please move that the House resolve to the Committee of Supply.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, my distinguished colleagues. I rise to move as directed by the Speaker that this House do resolve to Committee of Supply to consider reports. Thank you.
Minority Leader, please can you second?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Dodigodu Del Melu, and I represent the good people of Anocho from the Federal Consensus. I'm from Delta State. I rise to second the motion that we will resort to Committee of the Whole. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion, say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. House hereby resolves Committee of Supply. The report to be considered is that of the Committee on Finance on the 2020 budget of the Federal Inland Revenue. So I'll call on the chairman, Honorable Faleke, to give us a synopsis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues. Once again, my name is James Abiodun Faleke. I represent Ikeja Federal Constituency. Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, for want of time, I will just go straight to a summary of the highlights of this budget. The revenue estimates of FRS based on the 2020-2022 MTEF that was approved by this House. Whereas the projected oil revenue was estimated at 1.56 trillion, projected non-oil stood at 4.502 billion, and the projected 4% cost of collection for non-oil for FRS is estimated at 180.086 billion. While projected 2% of the cost of collection of VAT ceded to Nigeria Customs Service stood at 11.279 billion. Therefore, the net projected cost of collection available to FRS for the 2020 year is estimated at 168.8 billion. VAT rate is still retained at 7.5. Proposed personnel expenditure based on 10,700 staff strength is about 97.36 billion. Our overhead cost projection is based on envisaged service-wide drive and other supporting activities estimated at 38.89 billion, while the capital estimates, including ongoing and new projects, stood at 31.63 billion. During the committee session, it was observed that the FRS budget was, of course, prepared on zero budgeting, and the net available fund, like I said, is 168.8 billion, as against 146.540 billion in 2019. The committee also noted the upward growth rate of the service in terms of presence, reach, more importantly, the workforce, staff strength, moved from over 5,000 2007 to 9,000 2019, and now 10,700. The committee also noted the absence of technology as major challenges. It is therefore recommended, recommendation, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, and colleagues, the committee recommends to the House that the total expenditure of 168.809,476,220 billion be approved to cover both personnel overhead and capital expenditure for the 2020 fiscal year. The committee recommends the digitalization of all processes in the administration of tax in FRS so as to catch up with the rapidly increasing economic activities, most often carried out online without physical presence. It is recommended that FRS Establishment Act and other tax laws be amended to make it possible for FRS to modernize its operations with relevant technology. The committee accepts the FRS demand for the need for the service to have a one-off intervention fund of 100 billion naira. This fund will be used to assist the FRS to fund its immediate but pressing needs, such as completion of the FRS head office, training schools, 30 prototype tax operations, purpose-built facilities for efficient tax of the upstream industry, ICT infrastructure to identify and track digital transactions. Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, I so move. Thank you, sir.
I refuse to.
Anyway, no, later, let's just go straight to the recommendations. Recommendation 1, 2. Recommendation 3. Recommendation 4. You've done a lot of work. Recommendation 4. Let's start again. Recommendation 1. Recommendation 2. Recommendation 3. Recommendation 4. Bye, love it. Okay. I think House Leader, please move that we revert to plenary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Deputy Chair, Right Honorable Members. Adodogwa is my name. Mr. Chairman, Honorable Members, I represent Dogwa to the Federal constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise by your directives that this House do revert to plenary and report progress. Thank you, and I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, or Mr. Chairman. I remain Honorable Godwin Elvelu, and I represent the good people of Anocho Shumli Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. I rise to second the motion that will revert back to plenary. I so second.
House hereby reverts to plenary. Honorable colleagues, the House and the Committee of Supply considered the report of the Committee on Finance on the 2020 budget of the Federal Inland Revenue Service and approved the recommendations contained therein. Honorable, the House Leader, can you move that we adopt the resolution in Committee on Supply?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Members. I rise to move that this House do adopt the report of the Committee of Supply. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Members, I so move.
Any seconder? Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Gideon Bani. I come from Kaduna State. I represent Kaura Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by the Leader of the House. As so moved.
Honorable colleagues, I think we will need to adopt the rules and proceedings of today because we gave that the ad hoc committee 1 week to report their findings. And if we don't adopt the votes and proceedings today, they will not be, we'll have to wait till next week, and we gave them only 1 week. So I think, Chairman, can you move that we adopt the votes and proceedings of today? Is it Chairman or Leader? Who's meant to move that? Leader, you're already up. Can you move, please? And Chairman can second.
Thank you. Let me also borrow the words of the Deputy Speaker, that the chairman for this kind of responsibility, you better stay where God's put you. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Ado Dogwa is my name. I represent Tudunwada Dogwa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Kano State. I rise to move that the House do adopt for special reasons the votes and proceedings of today to allow relevant committees set by this House begin to act immediately. Mr. Speaker, on that note, I move.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, Krika Sama, Guri Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by the Leader of the House. I so second.
Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Votes and proceedings adopted. Chairman Business, can you step down all other matters? It's 1:35.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Saplata. I represent Brunua, Krika Sama, Guri Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move for suspension of all other items on the order paper and move them for the next legislative day. I so move.
All matters step down. Leader, can you move for adjournment, please?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. I am Ado Dogwa by name. Mr. Speaker, I represent Tudunwada Dogwa Federal Constituency of Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that this House do adjourn to the next legislature day. That will be Tuesday next week, 11 a.m. Mr. Speaker, honorable members. No. Why are you doing like this? Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Those in support that the House stand adjourned till tomorrow, till next Tuesday, 11 a.m., please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it.